the man who hosts the Stinkin Truth podcast, wherever you get your podcast, Mark Schlereth, back here on the program. Good to see you, Mark. How are you, sir?
Mark.
Good to see you.
I'm doing good, Rich. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine. I mean, you saw Drake Maye with your own two eyes. I said he's the most improved player and playing the best out of everybody from last year's draft class. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's playing great. And, you know, you can say whatever you want about offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels as a head coach, but as a coordinator, man, that guy has got his guys dialed in. And he is, you know, talking to him about Drake Maye, like the one insatiable appetite for information, really is smart, can apply it on the football field. And they've just cleaned it up. It's about the process. It's about the operation pre-snap. And then it's about how quickly can you read the defense and make the correct decision. The biggest issue that he had going into last weekend was 12 sacks taken. And those are things to me, Rich, that sacks taken are more a quarterback-driven statistic than they are an offensive line statistic because of the way the game is played today. So much outside the numbers, so many bubble screens, swing passes, so much quick game that if you take a lot of sacks, it's more on you as a quarterback than it is on the rest of the offense in general, sometimes on the play caller as well. So cleaning that up last weekend, it was great. And I praised him because he scrambled outside the pocket. He's about 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And before he stepped out of bounds, he threw it. And I was like, as an offensive lineman, man, I was like a proud father because that goes on our statistics as a sack, right? And so I was just like, good for you. Everybody in that offensive line room is going to be very excited about the decision you just made to throw that thing away as opposed to stepping out of bounds and taking a sack and having that tally up against us as a group.
Yeah, I mean, and again, just the way that he energizes by throwing it in, running it in, and where do you think the Patriots can go from here? Obviously, the division is one thing, and we will see them Sunday night in Buffalo. That is a big game, maybe making eat my words a little bit by just basically saying this could be a wild card mission for New England at 2-2. That's right in the mix with Denver, obviously behind Jacksonville, who you've also seen in person, Mark. Where do you think New England can go from 2-2 right now, which is what the Chiefs are as well, Mark?
I said this going into the broadcast. I said, you know what? It's all about self-inflicted wounds with the New England Patriots. And, you know, they had missed 35 tackles going into week 4 last weekend. So they'd missed 35 tackles. They were 29th in pass coverage. They turned the ball over 5 times against the Pittsburgh Steelers and barely lost that game. And one of my assessments was if this team cleans those things up with the way their quarterback is playing right now, they're a wild card football team. They're physical. They can run the ball. And I'm telling you, their passing game is going to get better and better and better. And because they have 2 tight ends that have duality, Rich, they've got Henry and they've got Hooper. And both those guys can block. Both those guys are skilled receivers. Like, they have a matchup issue for any defense they play. You've got to make a decision. Are we going to play them small in nickel? Are we going to play them big in base? And because both those guys can block, you know, we've gotten to this kind of thought process in the National Football League, which I hate, is tight ends, as long as they can split out and run routes, that's all we really care about. They don't need to block people, which is a bunch of garbage. And so when you have a guy that has the ability to do both, that has that versatility, and they have 2 of them, man, what an advantage that is to your offense. And that personnel grouping is their best personnel grouping, especially down by the red zone. And, I mean, they just showed it. They showed it last weekend against Carolina, and I think they've got a chance to be a wild card playoff team.
Well, speaking of mistake-prone, below the division line right now in the AFC East are the Jets at 0-4. And I'm sure you were watching that Monday night game with keen interest because your next game on Fox is Dolphins at Carolina, who you just saw in New England as well, Mark. But the number of mistakes the Jets made on the offensive line pre-snap and all of that stuff, I lost track. And how do you fix that? How as an offensive line or a coaching staff can stuff like that be fixed without, I guess, threatening people's jobs, Mark?
Yeah, the very beginning, the first drive they were in, I mean, they were just shoving it down the throats of the Miami Dolphins. And I looked at that and said, even though they came away with the fumble by Allen, I'm like, dude, if you adhere to that philosophy, like you're going to win this game. And, I think sometimes just in coaching in general, we just like to make it harder than it is. And I think the biggest thing, especially when you've got a lot of new moving parts, which you do with play callers and quarterbacks and, players in general, offensive line members, is you try to game plan certain situations. You try to make it, more complicated than it needs to be. And when you make a lot of pre-snap penalties, when you make a lot of mistakes, then it becomes like we have got to simplify things. There used to be a song, a country song I used to like back. This is all the way back to when I was playing by Neil McCoy called "Small Up and Simple Down." Like that to me is one of the best things you can do as an offense, especially when you're making a lot of pre-snap penalties. You have got to make it as simple as possible and just say, hey, we're going to line up and we're going to physically just throw it down your throat. And there's nothing you can do about it. And we're not going to be complicated. We're not going to be, in and out of personnel groupings and in and out of formations and motioning across and shifting guys. If we can't handle it, if we're not smart enough to handle it, and you have to know that as a coach, if we're not smart enough to handle it, then you've got to be the ones that simple it down. And like if you put your team in a position or put a player in a position to fail, don't be surprised when he fails. You're the dumbass that put him there. So clean it up, simplify it, and then you can actually survive some of those things when you do that and you eliminate those pre-snap penalties.
Well, I mean, does that have something to do with, again, this may be apples and oranges, Jordan Mailata of the Eagles talking about that they're breaking the huddle too late in Philadelphia?
Sure.
We're all talking about what's wrong with the Eagles run game and then what's wrong with the pass game. They are 4-0, yada, yada,
Right.
yada. But is that something that he's referring to in Philadelphia with their offense?
Yeah, when you break the huddle, like probably somewhere around 12 seconds is where most teams break the huddle. I've talked to two quarterbacks in the last 2 weeks that have told me, man, if we can get out of the huddle at with 18 seconds left on the clock, how much of just having that extra 6 seconds, what that does for me as a quarterback, as far as surveying the landscape, understanding what they're trying to do to me, where they're playing leverage, who's going to be open, what kind of coverage they're in, like those things. And then when you start to motion and move guys around, all the different things that happen, you start getting into a situation where you feel hurried, you feel rushed as you're getting up at the line of scrimmage. And then everybody, like it's not just the quarterback. I mean, as a offensive lineman, man, I wanted to walk up the line of scrimmage and see, hey man, what front are they in? Are the linebackers kicked over? So one of the things I always thought about with linebackers in general, where guys are supposed to line up based upon the defense that they present to you, the defensive front. So if the linebackers, what we used to call boss over, which boss is backers over strong, or if the backers move to the weak side and they were out of position even by a foot or a foot and a half. As an offensive lineman, I would know, okay, if they're bossed over strong, what are we going to get? We're going to get weak side safety rotation. That safety on the weak safety is going to come down and they're going to play, a middle of the field closed defense. I want to know that stuff because it affects the way, my blocking angles and my blocking schemes and who we're going to as far as getting to second level defenders in the run game. It affects the way we talk about that. Well, all of a sudden, if you run up there late and you don't have time to communicate that stuff, you're not going to be as good. So yeah, time on the clock and getting out of the huddle efficiently. And sometimes that's why a lot of teams, Rich, will like to play some tempo occasionally, because with tempo, you're always out of the huddle. You're not in the huddle. You're always out on the line of scrimmage, at 18, 19 seconds.
Well, what do you think Zach Taylor's thinking today for the Bengals after the Monday Nighter where it seemed to have no protection up front long enough for Jake Browning to find his guys, or when he did have time, his guys weren't open defensively? You tip your cap to Denver, I understand. But what do you think about the offensive line protection, what Zach Taylor can do?
Well, I mean, I hate the way they're structured offensively. I always have. And, there's a reason that Joe Burrow is always hurt. It's because you don't protect him. And how do you protect guys? Well, I can guarantee you one way that you don't protect a guy is when you sit in shotgun 95% of the time. that eliminates 30-40% of your run game. You get into shotgun, you don't have a run game. You get in shotgun, and like, let's say you're in a strong right or a right-handed formation, like tight end's on the right. If the running back is lined up to the tight end side, so that he's lined up in if you're in gun near, he's near the tight end, all right? You're running opposite the tight end. So if he's in a right-handed formation, 65-70% of your runs go to the left. If you're in gun far, so you've got the quarterback and the running backs here now, and you're gun far, well then guess what? 65-70% of your runs go to the tight end. So you're either running strong or you're running weak, and you're running mid zone. It's really like there's very few plays that you can really run out of gun formation. So first off, your run game gets eliminated by 35-40%, whatever it is. And then on top of that, your play action game, because you don't turn your back to the defense. So your play action game isn't nearly as effective when you're always in shotgun. That's why I'm a believer. You got to play some. I'm not saying you have to play everything, but you've got to play some out of under center. You got to get your quarterback in there under center. And like the structure of their offense sucks. You make your quarterback play on the high dive 99 out of 99 play, or 99 out of 100 plays, he's got to be on the high dive at all times. And I hate that. I hate that as an offensive player. I hate that, what that does to an offensive line. Obviously they haven't been able to keep any of their quarterbacks healthy, or Joe Burrow healthy, over the course of his entire career. So that's an offensive structure issue as far as I'm concerned.
Mark Schlereth, the Stinkin Truth, to say the least, right here. And that's the name of his podcast on the Rich Eisen Show. Through 4 weeks, Mark, before I let you go here on this Monday, the team we're not talking about enough. Could be 1-3 with a chance to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Could be 2-2. Could be 3-1. Obviously, there's only 2 4-0 teams right now. But who are we not talking about enough, Mark?
I'll tell you, Rich, I was so excited to watch the demise of the Kansas City Chiefs. So excited. And, and I was,
yes.
You know me, I was poking the bear, and I was sending things out on social media like, hey, the record, when they were 0-2, I had the record up, and it was glorious. For a time, it was just absolutely, like, I had found the cure for ED. It was the Chiefs struggling. And now all of a sudden I watched them play Baltimore, and I said it last week on the Stinkin Truth podcast. Like, there was nothing they'd done well. They can't block anybody. They won't run the ball. Patrick Mahomes doesn't look like the same guy. They don't have a deep threat. All of a sudden, Worthy comes back. They're throwing it over the top of the defense's head. They're running the ball. They're protecting Mahomes. All of a sudden, Travis Kelce's open again. Like, I just was like, I watched that game and my heart sunk. I'm like, oh shoot. The demise of the Kansas City Chiefs was probably vastly overstated, and they look like they are ready and poised to chase down that division crown again, which makes me want to vomit because I was celebrating. I just celebrated too early. That was the problem, Rich. I celebrated too early.
That there's might be a pill for premature celebration as well, Mark.
I need something.
I had no idea that you were looking for the cure of Eric Dickerson. I had no idea. But listen, man, the Chiefs are going to get Rashee Rice back in 2 weeks, too. That's a great Monday night game, too. The Jaguars against the Chiefs here on the ESPN family of networks. Mark, that is going to be a big one, to say the least.
Hey, the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing great. And how about our guy Liam Coen going after defensive coordinator Robert Saleh?
Do you want to break that down for my audience before I let you go? Like, what are they for people who are like, what are they arguing about?
Yeah.
Why are they angry at each other? Like, you're give me the insight here, Mark.
Robert Saleh basically accused Liam Coen of some secret sign stealing. I don't know how they do it. And it referenced back, I think, all the way to the Rams when Liam Coen was with the Rams. And so he had said that in a press conference or whatever, and Liam Coen took offense to it. And then, after the game, basically told him to keep.
He called it legal, though. He said a legal sign stealing operation.
Yeah. Okay, illegal signs. But anyhow, Xerxes, you can see him right there. Xerxes was not happy. He was not happy about that. He was just like, apologize to your God and kneel down, and you will be forgiven, Liam Coen. And Xerxes was pissed now because Liam Coen said, keep your name out of my name out of your mouth. And then Xerxes went off on him. And I think Liam Cohen's lucky they held him back. It was like one of them baseball fights. Like I always thought about this, Rich, baseball fight. Bench clearing brawl, and both bullpens run out side by side. Should you just cold cock somebody right there instead of running all the way down to the fight? Like you shouldn't get one guy, right? One guy should just rock across there and just absolutely sucker punch a dude, right? If we're gonna fight, let's fight right when we get out of the bullpen. Why do we gotta run 45 yards?
Track, right? Yeah.
I've never understood it. Yeah. I've never understood it. Liam Coen had that. He was like walked by him, said something under his breath, and then got four guys to hold him back. Like, hold me back. He'd have got. I think Xerxes would have kicked his ass. That's what I think.
I had no idea. I had to look him up from 300.
300.
Yeah.
Does he not look like Xerxes?
I'm looking at the actual time in which the real Xerxes lived.
He's like 8 feet tall.
Well,
no. Look at the movie. He is dead ringer. I'm not. Robert Saleh may have played. I don't know. I haven't looked whether he was on the credits for that movie or not. But he is Xerxes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
each other.
Mark Schlereth, everybody.
King of
Awesome.
Persia.
Great chat with you as always. Have a great cast on Fox, Dolphins and the Panthers.
I appreciate it. You going out to London? You're going out to Europe?
Next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. I'll be heading off to London. Yeah, doing Broncos, Jets, and then Rams, Jaguars, which could truly be quite a stake, to say the least, the way everyone's been playing. So.
Well, you know what they say out there in London. Throw another shrimp on the bobby, Rich. All right, I got to get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, mixing metaphors. There might be a pill for that as well. Mark Schlereth on the Rich Eisen Show, the Stinkin Truth Pox.
Mark Schlereth, a.k.a. Fat Rob Lowe.
Fat Rob Lowe. Xerxes. That was funny. Thought he found the cure.
Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
That was
hey,
nice.
man.
Good.
I told you, higher registered. I think the Chiefs have turned the corner.
Yeah.
Dude. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.